Centers for Spiritual Living. And we're going to start this morning off with our purpose statement. We are a loving spiritual community, empowering all to live healthy and successful lives through practicing the principles of science of mind. As we go into service this morning, let's know that God is at the center of all things, and that we are loving children of God, divine children of God. We are unique individuals made in the same image and likeness. We allow Spirit to express in and through us, bringing us all the gifts we desire. Let's become expert today at living a life filled with happiness, joy, good health, and love. And this is the time that we get to thank those who make this service possible. All of you, the Board of Trustees, the musicians, Tommy, the volunteers, the greeters, our visitors, today maybe online, and soon we'll get to greet you in person. My fellow practitioners, and Sally, thank you for the calls, that you're keeping us all connected, and that's an important thing, by making sure that those people that are not here with us right now are loved by us. That's a huge part of our service. Tomoko, thank you for keeping it all together as well, and especially Reverend Dr. Bill, delivering us a message we each need to hear. So let us just simply know that it's a perfect service, whole, perfect, and complete. And so it is.
To be still and let God love me. I need to be still and let God love me. When this old world starts to push and shove me, I need to be still. Let God love me.
Good morning again, and my name is Debra, a practitioner here at the Centers for Spiritual Living. Again, I went back to, after looking at several books, I went back to my favorite one. It's just amazing. And this was written in 1945. From a book called Effectual Prayer. So we reflect on this past year, and let's look at it as the book of the passing year that is spread out before us. Whatever wrong of another toward me that has been written on its pages, we forgive and we wipe out. Any wrong that I may have done, intentional or unintentional, I, myself, forgive. And I open myself to receive forgiveness from anyone whom I may have offended. I let all my hurts, all my self-pity, all my selfishness, my fear, my hate, my sickness and poverty thoughts become as water that has passed away. The book of our lives is cleansed from cover to cover through the forgiving love of Jesus. It is therefore without spot or blemish. I ask my Father that before I enter into the new year, the Spirit of the Christ may so fill my heart and soul that all pages of the book throughout the year come to be filled only with that which I delight to keep in the chamber of my memory and see fulfilled in my life. Let all the spiritual joys of the year that is passing be increased. Let all the rich thoughts multiply. All the good sent from me and toward me grow. Let faith, beauty of soul, compassion and love become in me as they were in the Nazarene. Let me grow in wisdom and stature, and in favor with God and man, stature. At this closing of the old year, I consecrate in coming year to thee and myself too, and to thy service. Use me, Father, in thy vineyard. Use me, my mind, my vineyard, and body. Let me be the peacemaker. Let me be the healer of discords, of poverty and fear thoughts. Let me open the eyes of the blind to thy beauty, the ears of the deaf to thy message. Let me point the lame and halt to the path wherein they can run and not be weary, walk and faint not. Let me express only the Christ every moment of every day, the whole year through. And let the Christ in me come forth of the Christ in everyone who enters my life or crosses my path in the days to come. Let's take this into prayer. I appreciated so much Reverend Carol Bliss's attention to the great poet John O'Donohue last week. This is called For a New Beginning. In and out of the places of the heart, where your thoughts never think to wander, this beginning has been quietly forming, waiting until you are ready to emerge. For a long time it has watched your desire, feeling the emptiness growing inside you, noticing how you willed yourself on, still unable to leave what you had outgrown. It watched you play with the seduction of safety and the gray promises that sameness whispered, heard the waves of turmoil rise and relent, and wondered, would you always live like this? Then the delight when your courage kindled and out you stepped onto new ground, your eyes young again with energy and dream, a path of plenitude opening before you. Though your destination is not yet clear, you can trust the promising of the opening. Unfurl yourself into the grace of beginning that is at one with your life's desire. Awaken your spirit to a venture. Hold nothing back. Learn to find ease and risk. Soon you will home in a new rhythm. For your soul senses the world that awaits you. And so it is.
How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle, and how deeply you're connected to my soul? How could anyone ever tell you you are nothing less than wonderful? How can anyone ever tell you you are less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your presence is so beautiful, and how deeply you're connected to my soul?
Yeah, now we do. What a great song to start with. How could anybody ever tell you that you were anything less than the greatest thing to ever walk the face of the earth? How could anyone ever tell you that you were anything other than God becoming you to experience life, the life of its creation? Good morning, I am Reverend Bill Salisbury, and it's my absolute delight to be here. In the looking at the overarching theme for the month, it's a new month, right? It's January. I know, you guys have been here a couple of Sundays already this month, but well, some of us were playing hooky. But looking at that overarching theme of expanding into the mystery. Wow, expanding into the mystery. And it is a mystery, isn't it? Who of us would have ever thought of the things that unfold before us? We have no way of knowing what's coming. Sometimes we think we do, but because it's always a mystery, and because it's always expanding, it's always changing. And because it's always changing, even though sometimes we get kind of into this complacency mode, this thinking about how, well, we know what's going on and we're planning. I love that, planning for the future. You ever have any of those plans that, didn't unfold exactly the way that you were so certain they would? Because it's never going to be what our talk title is today. It's never going to be the same old, same old. I would just like to mention, in case you were in a coma for all of 2020, but 2020 was not the same old, same old. And the entire last century wasn't the same old, when you think about it. Think about the things that we started January 1st of 1900 without and came to the year 2000 with. You can't even list them all. In 2020, same way, not the same old. And guess what? 2021 isn't going to be either. Can you feel that? Can you see that? Can you know that? It can't be. And guess what? We don't want it to be. We don't want it to be the same old. And I'm going to tell you, I don't even need to know you or know anything about you to tell you this for certain, as sure as I'm standing here. 2020 didn't work out well for you. It didn't work out as well as it could have for you. Because as long as we're experiencing this humanness that we're going through right here, there's always going to be a little something that we look, in retrospect, we look and we say, well, that could have been a little bit better. Could have been a little bit better. And I know, you know what, God, I'm sorry to even say this, but 2021, it ain't going to work out perfectly for you either. Just deal with this, okay? And I know it's not going to work out perfectly for each of us because I know that it doesn't work out well for everybody. And I'm just going to tell you, if this world doesn't work well for everybody, it's not working as well as it could for us. And I don't care what our current position is or situation is or what we think about it. Things might be great for us right now. And you might say, gee, Bill, things have been great for me for 10, 20, 30, 40 years. I'm sure there's nobody in here that's been more than 40 years of enjoying life. But you know what? Even if you're totally and completely satisfied with everything that's ever happened to you, raise your hand if that's you. Totally, completely satisfied with everything that's ever happened to you, even if you were, here's another really bad news. I'm going to get the bad news out of the way first before I get to the really good news. Here's another piece of bad news. Everything you have ever loved or held dear or considered to be the greatest thing in the world for you, everything you've ever held dear is going to be taken away from you. As long as we're talking about this human existence. The only thing that we have that cannot be taken away from us ever is that spark of God that is within us. Because that's who we are. I'm not my personality. Oh, sure, I navigate this world with this personality, but I'm not my faults, I'm not my failures, I'm not my virtues and my successes either. I'm not any of those things. Yeah, those things help me get through on a day-to-day basis, but really, we could do without all of that as long as we understand who we are at bottom, who we really are. If we just understand that we are expressing as God every second, we wouldn't have to work so hard to cover that up. Don't we go out of our way sometimes to cover up our divinity? Well, here's the good news. You might cover it for a while, but it can't be gone away. It's the only thing we're ever taking with us everywhere we go. Yeah, sometimes don't we think that, well, I want to really get close to my spirituality. I want to find myself. I'm going up to a mountain in Tibet. Or I'm going off to the Amazon jungle. Or I'm going off to any one of these really, really special, isolated places where I can get in touch with that God that is within me. Well, guess what? If we all did that, we'd have to build cities there too. Can you imagine the Himalayas being overrun with strip malls? But think about it. If we can't find our true self right here, right now, we can't find it anywhere. You know, somebody coined that phrase, you know, and it was meant to be at least funny, possibly even, I don't know, cynical. But it went something like, wherever you go, there you are. You can't change anything by changing your geography. If you want to change something, we have to begin right here where we are right now. So we don't have to go to some exotic place. You know, the master teacher Jesus said something about whenever two or more are gathered in my name, I'm there. Here's the really good news. You could be out in the middle of the desert and look around and not see another living soul for as far as you can see. God is still there with you. You know why? Because you are two. Each of us is two. We're the visible face that is put on this world. We're the vessel that we're carrying our soul self in. Plus we are that which is within. So we can never ever be anywhere where there's not two of us. We can never be anywhere God is not. Wow. If that doesn't just set you free a little bit, yeah, we're going to have trouble here. Because everybody wants to be free, right? Oh, God, don't we know it, especially today, right? Well, I want my freedom. I want to be free. I want my rights. I want to be free. Free to do what I want. Well, guess what? That's not freedom. The freedom to do what I want when I want to do it, that's not freedom. That's bondage. That's slavery to my lower self. That's slavery to my ego. That's slavery to my senses. The only way I can be free in the true meaning of the word is if I'm willing to let all of that go. You know, I'm not saying we're going to, live in a bubble or pretend there's nothing going on here, that we don't have to successfully and legitimately live in the world and express our views and opinions and live likewise. All I'm saying is we have to be willing to let everything go for the mystery that is unfolding. Once we're willing to let everything go, then we are free. If we have something we're not willing to let go of, that just means we're in bondage to it. Nothing can happen to us that God can't fix, can't straighten, can't relieve us of. Because after all, that's what we're made of. We are that peace, that love, that joy, that light that God is. And all you ever have to do sometimes is just kind of relax and say, wow, all these things, all these thoughts, all these worries. What's worry? Think about it. Worry is a prayer for something that we don't want to have. Isn't it? Remember, our thoughts manifest in our world. So if we are worried constantly, and who hasn't been, you know, we've all done that, been there. When we're worried about something and giving all our energy to it, we're simply saying a prayer to the universe to bring it to us, because the universe doesn't know whether we're saying yes or no about it. The universe only knows that we're concentrating on it. And as long as we're giving our energy to it, guess what? Life says, here you go. So let's don't be worried. Let's just be in anticipation that this mystery is going to unfold for our benefit, because it always and ultimately does. Come on, we all know that. Even in those times where we think, oh my God, this is happening to me. 10 years later, you look back and say, wow, I didn't know it at the time. Don't you love that phrase? Haven't we said that so many times? I didn't know it at the time, but boy, that was really the best thing that could have happened to me. To me, for me, through me, by me. In honor of me. So, we don't have only our worst experiences to judge ourselves by or to guide ourselves by. And we don't have only our best either. Because remember, these are all just experiences that we're going through here. Experiences that are opportunities for us to recognize and realize and accept the fact that there's so much more to us. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? You can't. And as long as we're stuck in that same old thought pattern, we have the divine blueprint within us. Think about that. We have the divine blueprint in us. What can go wrong? Well, everything can go wrong when we lose sight of the fact that we have that. Or maybe nothing will. But things won't go as right as they could either until we realize that we are God manifesting on this plane. And we are here for that purpose. So sometimes, I don't know, you ever read a book or a movie or hear a song lyric or something that talks about, gee, what's my purpose? I don't think I haven't achieved my purpose here yet. I haven't done, what am I supposed to be here for? What's life all about? LV? We don't need to have this giant fireball in the sky come blazing across and landing in our front yard, you know, and this fiery figure step out and say, you have now fulfilled your purpose. We fulfill our purpose every time we smile at somebody, every time we encourage a child, every time we befriend somebody, every time we think love in our hearts. Each of those times we have totally, completely fulfilled our purpose here. How many times can we fulfill our purpose? Oh, God. I'm not sure I can get that high. So anyway, in order for us to be truly free, we have to just totally, completely abandon all sense of us as a separate self. Because really at bottom, if you are God expressing, and you are God expressing, and you are God expressing, and I am God expressing, we're all God expressing. pretty bright sunny day out there. I think we should just stop right for a second here and go take a field trip, go out to the parking lot, and see if we can each separate out one of those little rays of sunshine coming to us from the sun. How would that work out? Sometimes, in the right conditions, we can look in the sky and we can think we see those individual rays of sun. Just like we look out upon our world and we think that we can see those individual expressions of God. And we can. But one ray without all the rest isn't going to make a very bright planet, is it? And if you take one ray away, you have somehow shortened that total amount of sunlight that should be ours, available to us, to be experiencing right now. And we can experience that, and we can stay away from worry about the same old, same old. You ever seen a tree? A tree grows up big and strong, and it has lots of leaves on it, and in the autumn, those leaves turn color, and then what do? They fall off. Well, later on when you have time, go ask your favorite tree, do you ever feel bad about those leaves falling off? Do you ever look back and say, oh my God, I've lost my leaves? No, because trees don't live in the past. Trees allow that future to unfold for them, knowing it's going to unfold and unfold and unfold and unfold and continue to do so forever. We're not worried about it. But do we sometimes worry about those leaves of ours that we've lost? Yeah? Stop it. There's no future in the past. Oh my God, somebody should have said that. Somebody probably did 1,000 times. There's no future in the past. And we get through this world by knowledge. Is that correct? Remember earlier I said that the first day of January in 1900, we didn't have anywhere near as much stuff, as many things. And I'm not talking about just stuff, consumerism stuff. I'm talking about huge things like electricity and jet travel. I mean, things that really changed our world. And each time we had this new invention, didn't everybody think, wow, this is the cat's meow. We've reached the zenith. This is the pinnacle. It can't get any better than this. Yes, we thought that every time. Now at least we know enough to not think that anymore. And even Einstein, remember Albert Einstein? And I don't know what he said, but he did intimate somewhere along the line that there were certain things, as smart as he was, and as great a grasp as he had. I mean, think about the thinking he did. Talk about being outside of the box and thinking outside of this world. And he said, wow, there's just some stuff I can't get my head around. There's just some stuff that I don't know. My knowledge, and he told somebody at one point, he said, yeah, I do know a lot about physics, science, the world. He says, but my knowledge is not complete. Parts of it are missing. And what he meant was, all the knowledge that we can have here about the physical world, all of it, even that really high-level knowledge, it's still incomplete. That's just a little bit higher form of ignorance, isn't it? The smartest guy in this world is just a little bit higher form, or even a lot higher form, of ignorance. And that's just the way it's meant to be. It's meant to be that so that we can investigate that and we can pour our heart and soul into that to get to the truth of what it is we're here for. To get to the truth of the fact that we are together in this, that there is no separation, there is no division. Can we get that? God is an undivided whole. Undivided. So, wow, are there lots of gazillions of things in the universe? Of course there are. And who knows? The universe might be a misnomer. There might be tons, an infinite number of universes. There might be this stuff going on all over the place. But God is indivisible. Because all of this stuff, all of these things are happening and are within the only thing there is in eternity, and that's God. So if all these things are taking place within God, so we say we're emanating from God, right? We're expressions of, we're manifestations of, and all that's true. But when we emanate from God, if God is the only thing there is, we're not really emanating from God into something outside of God. We're emanating from God into that larger container that we haven't recognized yet as being part of that. So in that regard, people 3,000 miles away on the other side of the country, or 10,000 miles away on the other side of the world, are us united together. We are still within that same entity. We're that same consciousness. We are inseparable from them. And here's the really bad news for us. You know that guy that you really don't like? That guy who's just so miserable and rotten and, man, just no good? The guy's an aspect of us. That's an aspect of us that we'd love to keep hidden from ourselves. And on the other hand, that woman who's a saint, who's just the most perfect thing you can ever see, who's the exact vision of angel, that's us too. So we don't have to feel like we're left out. But we have to understand that every capability there is of anybody ever is within each of us. So if we want to talk about our purpose is to not fall prey to anything that's happened in the past, do away with the old, and not fall into that, and be ever, ever, ever conscious of working forward into that mystery with love and peace and joy and the Spirit of God within us. That's how we know the mystery unfolds for us. Oh, sometimes it seems like a maze. It's amazing, it's amazing. And sometimes we wonder, God, how are we ever going to navigate this? But we are. I do want to impart this little story about the gentleman who peacefully passed away in his sleep. And of course, instantly, he ends up in front of St. Peter. And St. Peter says, hey, how you doing? Here's how this works. You are going to give me a detailed itinerary of what your life was like. And I am going to award points to you based on the things that you tell me. And when you get to 100 points, you get to come into heaven. The guy says, hey, all right, I'm up for this. He says, let me just tell you, I was married to the same woman for 60 years and was never unfaithful. Not even in my mind did I have any unfaithful thoughts. And St. Peter said, wow, that is fantastic. That's 3 points. That's 3 points. He said, oh, wait a minute. He says, I was an outstanding member of my church. And I gave up my time, my treasure, my talents all the time. I really forwarded that ministry. He said, oh, that is great. That's worth 2 points. He says, wow, 2 points. He says, okay, check this out. In my city, I started a soup kitchen. And I volunteered at a homeless shelter for veterans. And St. Peter said, oh man, that's certainly worth the point. This guy just throws his hands up. He says, holy cow. He says, 3 points, 2 points, 1 point. He says, the only way I'm ever going to get into heaven is just by the grace of God. And St. Peter said, welcome, son. Here you are. And we need to just keep that in mind. We are here by the grace of God. Life unfolds, even as mysterious as it is by the grace of God. And we will never, ever be outside of the grace of God. So let's just take that into prayer. Let's just know together that the way we enjoy is to be in joy. And knowing that joy, happiness, beauty, love, harmony, peace, light, these things all are of God. And our divine nature is the only part of us that can recognize those things. Truth cannot be created. It can only be observed, perceived. It can only be known within. And there is only one truth, and that truth is the same truth of all of us for all time. That is this truth that we are manifestations of the one God. We are here to serve each other. We are here to love each other, to hold each other, to save each other from ourselves. When we get to that place where that is what we do and all we do on a daily, weekly, monthly, annually basis for our entire lives, we will know then that we have served that purpose for which we've come. And we will not be bogged down in the old. We will not be complacent thinking that what has been is sufficient. Because there's so much more. There's so much more. When we open ourselves to that by saying yes to life, yes to God, yes to those other aspects of God that we share this planet with, the world truly will be a place that works for everyone. So it's with grateful heart that I know this is the case. I recognize this to be the case, and I say yes to life. Yes to the undivisibleness. Yes to no separation. Yes to no otherness. Yes to that oneness and that unity that is God, that is my life and all of our lives in this minute and forever. So I just release this word into that law of the universe that knows only to say yes to me. I just let it go and I say, thank you, God, thank you, thank you. And so it is.
I'm thankful, so grateful. I am one in the Spirit all around me. I'm thankful, so grateful. I trust in God.
This is our time to thank you for your ongoing support, thank you for keeping our center here vital, keeping it going. So I just invite you to take your gift, your tithe, your offering, before you send it off to us by email, by the PayPal thing on the website, or by snail mail, or coming down and delivering it in person to Tomoko. Just hold it next to your heart and join me in saying, I live in a universe of abundance. As I freely and joyfully give, I join the divine flow. All that I share with life returns to me multiplied abundantly, and so it is.
Doesn't matter where we are or what we're doing. I'll sing it to you. Oh, 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 sometimes I'm silent. Gonna put it in words. Beginning, what I want to feel forever. It's only the beginning, only just the start. It's only the beginning, it's only the beginning, it's only the beginning. 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 It's only the beginning.
There's Tommy Cosentino. And that last note, that was the end of the beginning. And this is the beginning. Every second is a beginning, is it not? Every second is beginning a new part of life. Every second is a beginning of us helping that mystery unfold on our behalf. So don't forget that. We are never tied to what we think we're supposed to be. Because the only thing we're supposed to be is emanations of love from that one source. Speaking of, please remember that our practitioners are here for you, for me, for all of us every day. We're available by phone, we're available by email, we're available through the website, we're available right here in person during the week. So if there's anything that's ever preying on your mind, get on the phone and we'll be happy to pray with you. So thank you so much for that. And shall we just know together, something wonderful is happening through me right now.
Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
It's this thing called love.
It's this thing called love.
If that's the same old, same old,
If that's the same old,
I'm in.
I'm in.
Thank you, God.
Thank you, God.
Thank you for filling me with this belief
Thank you for filling me with this
and filling my life with love.
and filling my life with love.
Thank you, God, in me.